The days that followed were filled with the sound of machines. Inside the workshop, sparks flew like stars, and the air carried the sharp scent of hot metal. Marcus worked with steady hands, never rushing, never hesitating. Each movement was precise, as if he had built 1,000 machines before. The girl watched from her chair, her eyes wide, her heart beating faster each time she saw the glowing pieces come together. The human did not waste words. He explained little, but when he did, his voice carried weight. "These wires," he said, pointing to glowing blue lines, "will carry power from your body to the legs. These plates," he added, lifting shining silver pieces, "will protect you like armor, light but unbreakable." Every part seemed alive. Every sound of welding and shaping filled her with new hope. Sometimes Marcus tested strange tools she had never seen before. One tool sent waves of energy through the air, shaping metal without fire. Another carved designs so thin they looked like writing from the stars. The girl realized that human knowledge was different from anything her people had known. He built not only with skill, but with vision. At night, when the workshop grew quiet, she stayed awake, watching the legs take shape. They looked less like machines and more like something alive. The glowing energy cores pulsed softly. Like a heartbeat, the polished plates shone like silver rivers under the lights. And when Marcus finally attached the knee joints, she felt a shiver run through her body. Those legs were meant for her. She knew it, but it was not easy. There were failures, pieces that cracked, wires that burned, sparks that exploded into the air. Once, a core overheated, sending a flash of light across the room, nearly burning Marcus's arm. The girl gasped, fear gripping her chest, but the human only smiled and said, "If it doesn't break, it can't be trusted." Then he started again, stronger, smarter, more determined. The days stretched into weeks, and the rumors outside grew louder. People gathered at the edge of the workshop, whispering, mocking, doubting. "Even a human cannot defy nature," they said. "She will always be broken, no matter what machine he builds." But their laughter could not reach her heart anymore. Inside the workshop, she had already seen the impossible taking form. Sometimes Marcus spoke to her while he worked, not about pity, not about her past, but about the future. "When you stand," he said, "you must not only walk, you must run faster than the ones who mocked you. When you rise," he added, "you must not only prove yourself, you must show them what it means to carry fire in your soul." His words lit something inside her, a strength she had hidden for years. She promised herself she would never go back to being the girl in the chair. One night, as the twin moons rose high above the colony, Marcus finally stepped back, wiping sweat from his face. On the table lay 2 completed robotic legs, shining with power. The girl gasped softly, unable to look away. They were beautiful, more than she had imagined. Sleek silver frames shaped like muscles, glowing lines running through them like living veins. Every curve and joint promised both strength and grace. "These are yours," Marcus said quietly, his voice carrying pride. "They will answer to you alone, no one else." The girl reached out with trembling hands, touching the cool metal. It felt solid, real, not like a dream. For a moment, tears filled her eyes. But this time they were not from sadness, they were from the weight of hope finally becoming real. But Marcus was not finished. He began connecting the legs to a harness that would link them to her body. "This part is the hardest," he explained, his tone serious. "Your body will fight them. Your nerves will scream. You will feel pain unlike anything before." The girl swallowed hard, her hands shaking, but her voice was steady. "I am ready," she whispered. In the shadows of the workshop, the machines hummed like a choir. The colony outside slept, unaware that history was about to change. The girl closed her eyes for a moment, imagining herself walking, running, standing tall. She could almost feel it, the ground beneath her feet, the wind rushing past her face, and for the first time, she smiled, not as a dreamer, but as someone about to awaken. Marcus placed his hand gently on her shoulder. You have carried chains for 10 years. He said, "Tomorrow we break them." His words were not just a promise. They were a command, and in that moment, the girl believed with all her heart that he was right. The robotic legs rested silently on the table, glowing softly like stars waiting to be born. The workshop lights dimmed, the machines slowed, the night grew deep, but inside the girl's chest, the fire only burned brighter. Her story was no longer about what she had lost. It was about what she was about to gain, and soon, the world that had laughed at her would see the rise of something they could not ignore. The workshop of the human was unlike anything she had ever seen. Strange machines hung from the ceiling, glowing with blue and red light. Half-broken alien ships lay in pieces, their engines pulled apart, their metal shells scattered on the ground. Everywhere she looked, sparks jumped from wires, steam hissed from pipes, and tools hummed with power. It was as if the place itself was alive, breathing, whispering, waiting. The girl pushed herself deeper into the room, her wheels rolling slowly across the metallic floor. The sound echoed loudly, and she felt small in the presence of so many machines. The human stood near the center, his back bent as he worked on a strange device. He wore a dark jumpsuit stained with oil, his strong hands moving quickly. His hair was messy, his eyes sharp, and his face looked like a man who had carried too many battles alone. For a moment, he did not notice her. She watched him, curious, afraid, and strangely drawn to him. Unlike the others in her colony, he did not laugh, he did not whisper, he did not look away in pity. When at last he turned, his eyes met hers, and she felt a strange fire in his gaze. It was not the fire of judgment, but the fire of someone who saw possibility. "You came back," he said quietly, his voice deep and calm. The girl froze, surprised. How do you know me?" she asked. The human set down his tool, wiping his hands on a rag. "I saw you once," he said, rolling past the training yard, staring at the fighters like you wanted to join them. "I knew one day you would find me here." Her chest tightened. She had thought her dreams were private, but this human had seen them, seen her secret longing. For the first time she felt both exposed and understood. He walked toward her slowly, his heavy boots making sharp sounds against the metal floor. When he stood before her, he crouched low so their eyes met at the same level. "I am Marcus," he said, "a human far from home, a builder of broken things. And you want me to fix what no one else could." Her violet eyes shined with nervous light. "Yes," she whispered. "I want to walk, I want to run, I want to be free." The words spilled out of her like water breaking a dam. She did not even realize tears had gathered in her eyes until one fell onto her hand. Marcus did not look away. He did not pity her. Instead, he gave a small nod, as if he had already decided. "I can make you legs," he said, his voice firm. "Not the ones you lost, but new ones, stronger, faster, built from steel and fire. But this gift comes with pain," he warned. "Body may fight it. Your mind may break before it accepts them. Are you willing to pay that price?" The girl did not hesitate. Her voice rose stronger than before. "I have been in this chair for more than 10 years. I have lived as half a person, laughed at by my own people, forgotten by the world. If there is pain, I will take it. If there is danger, I will face it. If there is a chance to walk again, I will not let it pass." For the first time, Marcus allowed himself a smile. It was not a smile of joy, but of respect. "Good," he said. "Then we begin." He turned and led her deeper into the workshop, past piles of glowing cores, wires that crackled with energy, and shelves stacked with alien alloys. She stared in wonder, her heart racing faster with every step he took. Finally, they reached a large table covered with pieces of shining metal, long silver plates, wires glowing with blue light, and strange cylinders pulsing like beating hearts. "These," Marcus said, pointing, "will become your legs." The girl's breath caught in her throat. They looked beautiful and terrifying. Half machine, half living light, they pulsed with energy like they already wanted to move. She reached out a trembling hand, but stopped short of touching them. What if I fail? She whispered. Marcus shook his head. You will not fail, he said firmly. I will not let you. At that moment, the air shifted. She believed him, not because of his words, but because of the fire in his eyes. This man was not like the others. He carried the strength of 1,000 storms within him. And he had chosen to share that strength with her. Yet outside, rumors spread through the colony. Whispers of the human who played with forbidden machines. Some said he was building weapons. Some said he was dangerous. And when they saw the crippled girl enter his workshop, their whispers turned to laughter. Even the human cannot fix the broken one, they said. She will come out the same as she went in, a prisoner in her chair. But deep inside the workshop, the girl and Marcus ignored the world. Together, they began the work that would change everything. The hum of machines grew louder, the sparks brighter. The metal that lay scattered on the table would soon become something greater, a promise of freedom, a challenge to destiny, and the first step of a legend that none of them could yet imagine. For more than 10 long years, she had never felt the ground beneath her feet. The alien girl, with glowing green skin and hair as bright as violet flames, lived trapped in a wheelchair. Once, as a child, she could run, she could dance, and she could jump like the other children of her colony. But an accident long ago had taken everything from her, leaving her legs broken beyond healing. The colony where she lived was not kind to the weak. They respected warriors, hunters, and those who stood tall in battle. But for her, they showed only pity mixed with hidden laughter. Every time she wheeled herself across the dusty streets, she could feel the eyes staring, whispering, mocking. She pretended not to care, but deep inside her heart was heavy. She dreamed of walking again, of feeling strong, of proving everyone wrong. At night, she would look out from her small window and watch the alien soldiers training. Their blades flashed under the moonlight. Their bodies moved with speed and strength. She imagined herself standing among them, training, fighting, running free. But when she looked down, she only saw her broken body and the heavy metal chair that had become her cage. Hope was a dangerous thing, and yet she still carried a small piece of it. Whispers had reached her ears, whispers of a stranger in the colony, a human, a traveler from far across the stars, who was said to fix what could not be fixed. Some called him a genius, some called him a fool, and some said he was cursed. But one thing was certain: he could create machines more advanced than anything the aliens had ever built. One evening, as the twin suns of her world began to set, she wheeled herself to the edge of the colony. There, in the shadow of broken starship parts and glowing wires, stood the workshop of the human. The place looked alive. Machines buzzing, sparks flying, strange lights pulsing against the metal walls. For a long moment, she sat outside, afraid to enter. Her hands trembled on the wheels of her chair. Her heart beat fast. Could this really be the moment her life changed? Or would she only face more disappointment? Inside, the human worked silently, his hands moving with precision. He was tall, with tired eyes that carried both wisdom and sadness. He fixed weapons, ships, and machines that the aliens thought beyond repair. But when he looked up and saw her in the doorway, he froze. For the first time in years, she felt truly seen, not as a broken girl, but as something more. What do you want? He asked softly. His voice was calm, but it carried the weight of someone who had seen too much. She swallowed her fear and answered, her voice shaking. I want to walk again. The words hung in the air like a challenge no one had ever dared say it aloud in front of her before, but she had spoken it, and now she could not take it back. The human studied her carefully, his eyes scanning the chair, her body, the old scars left behind by failed surgeries. Finally, he stepped closer, kneeling beside her. You know this will not be easy, he said, his tone serious. It will hurt, it will test you, and it may fail. Her violet eyes burned with determination. I do not care, she whispered. I have lived as a prisoner for too long. I am ready to fight for freedom, even if it kills me." For a long time, silence filled the workshop, only broken by the hum of machines. Then, slowly the human nodded, a faint smile touching his lips. "I can give you legs," he said, "but they will not be the legs you once knew. They will be stronger, faster, built from metal and light. If you are ready, I will build them for you." Her heart raced faster than it ever had before. For 10 years she had dreamed of hearing those words. Now they had been spoken, and they were real. The fear inside her began to melt away, replaced with hope. For the first time in so long, she believed in tomorrow. As the sun set fully and the workshop lights glowed brighter, the girl entered the human's world of machines. She did not know what trials waited ahead, or how much pain she would endure. But she knew one thing with certainty: her story was no longer the story of a broken girl in a wheelchair. It was the beginning of something greater, and soon, the colony that had laughed at her weakness would see her rise.